Writers love writing prologues, but readers hate having to read them. So what are you, a writer who loves prologues, going to do? Most advice you'll find will tell you to avoid them at all costs, but there are better solutions. Which is why I've written down my top 4 tips on how to write a good, unskippable prologue. Because your book deserves it. Writing a prologue your reader won't skip. Number 1. Keep it short. Personally, I love one-page prologues, especially if they're well written, because that's an easy way to draw me into the story. I would keep it at a maximum 2 to 3 pages, so that way your reader is less likely to skim or even skip it. Number 2. Make it exciting. Number 1 prologue mistake. You made it too mysterious and vague in your attempt to engage your reader, and now he's just confused and bored. A brief, action-packed prologue is sure to bind your reader to the story. Sarah Jane Stratford's historical novel, Radio Girls, has a 1-page prologue in which the main character is running for her life 4 years after the first chapter. It drew me into the book with a question. What did she get herself into? But maybe this high-speed action isn't really your thing. I'd write friendly dialogue over gunfights any day. So for writers like us, we need to find a way to be exciting without using so much action. So here are some ideas on alternate ways you can engage your readers without having to put anyone in peril. Interesting, unusual characters. The more unique, the better. An image. It can be anything from icicles catching the gold light of sunrise or dead leaves left between the pages of a book. Here you can use symbolism to deepen your writing's meaning. Or you could use an obscure location. I get sucked into stories that take place in a country other than my own, but you don't necessarily have to go as far as that. Even something as small as an old-timey diner would do the trick. Or lastly, politics. A lot of readers are intrigued by stories that introduce different political views or situations. Everyone has a political standpoint, even if they don't know it, so your reader will automatically take sides during such a conflict. Number 3. Consider, is it really important? If you were to cut your prologue entirely, would your story still flow fine without it? If you answer yes, you might need to rework your prologue, or even cut it out entirely. I know, you love your prologue. But in the end, I always find that deleting or rewriting part of your story is always worth it. And finally, number 4, don't label it as a prologue. If you're afraid of your prologue getting skipped, here's a quick, easy solution. Just don't label it a prologue. Most readers tend to start the book at chapter 1, right? So mark your prologue as the first chapter instead, and it's almost guaranteed to be read. In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, for example, the entire first chapter could be considered a prologue due to the fact that it's all backstory from a different point of view. But the history is important to understanding the rest of the story, which is why it's labeled as chapter 1. Of course, this does come with some slight disadvantages. For one thing, it just puts even more pressure on you to get it written just right. And as most prologues tend to be all backstory, you may inadvertently give your reader a false idea on what the book is about. Similar to when your exciting, action-packed first chapter turned out to just be a dream, and it left your reader feeling cheated. If you're just not willing to take that risk, here are some other ideas on ways you can relabel your prologue. The date. This could work especially well if date and time are important in your book, like a historical read. The time. This one is perfect for a thrilling, fast-paced story that takes place in a short span of time. The location. I only recommend using this one if your prologue takes place somewhere that is separate from the majority of the book, or it's someplace really unusual, or nothing at all. Your prologue doesn't necessarily need a label, especially if it's brief. However, this doesn't guarantee it will be read, so use caution. Thoughts to add? Questions? I'd love to hear from you. Happy writing.